Hari Om. Sarvesham Swagatam. Means welcome to Sanskrit learning the easy way. We start really with very simple words of greetings. When you meet someone, you say good morning, good evening, or whatever you say in your local language. I'd like to show you what to say in Sanskrit. Moving.
You have to switch to the
Second
PowerPoint.
slide.
Switch to the PowerPoint.
How do you shift the next slide? Oh, got it. I've given you in this slide 3 columns. The first one is in Sanskritam, the second one is transliteration, and the third one is the English meaning. When you say Swagatam is welcome, very commonly understood. But the way this Swagatam is made out is Gatam, Agatam. Gatam in English, to say, the meaning is gone. Gatam. Agatam means come. You see how 2 words joined together make the meaning. Gatam and Agatam. And Swagatam means you add is here, which means welcome to you. Swagatam. There's another word which I add one more, which is called Su. Swagatam. In Bombay, the building next to me was called Swagatam. Isn't it enough if you say Swagatam alone? Swagatam means welcome. But Sanskrit is such a sweet language. It's very polite. It says Swagatam, which means sweet welcome. Very auspicious. The word, the letter Su added, lends that auspiciousness to it. So it goes like a string from a small root, builds up, builds up, builds up, and then you get beautiful words. And that is the beauty of Sanskrit. So Swagatam. You also greet to anybody, Namaste. Namaste is Namahate. Te means you. It could be anybody. And you say Namaste, and which is a very nice form of greeting. You don't have to even shake hands with anyone. This is actually you are worshipping the other person. You say Namaste, which shows the deep respect one has for every individual, whether it is a small child or an adult, maybe a man or a woman. You say Namaste. And if you want to wish good morning, Prabhatam means morning. Suprabhatam means what?
Sweet
Good.
morning.
Good morning. So, you can wish Suprabhatam, which means very easy to say good morning. Prabhatam refers to the sun. So actually, Prabhatam is when you get the sunshine, sun comes rising up, at that time you say Suprabhatam. So, you have these 4 words which are commonly used for greetings. And to begin with, we always say Om Sri Ganeshaya Namaha. You all must have seen that little painting there, very thoughtfully presented by Rajesh, which is hung there. And that is Ganeshaya Namaha. Om Sri Ganeshaya Namaha. We start with Ganesha. So you have those typical words of greetings. They are all beautiful, sweet words from Sanskrit. Let's go further. All of you, I am sure, we are all keen to learn Sanskrit. But why should you learn Sanskrit? It is not a very popular language and nobody keeps on talking. You have people talking English, Tamil, Telugu, Hindi, Marathi, so many languages are there. But very few people talk in Sanskrit. So in that case, why should we really learn Sanskrit? Common question, right? I think it is very, very important because You all have come here with a particular interest in Sanskrit. Deepan, why you want to learn Sanskrit?
Because I feel that the meaning of certain slokas and verses becomes deeper when you know each word, and as opposed to just a general translation.
Good, very good. Neelu, why do you want to learn?
The same as Deepak.
You're interested?
Because, yeah, all the slokas are in Sanskrit and I
Very
want to
good.
know the meaning of that.
Very good, very good. Partha?
Same, I think all the slokas, and because my kid is now learning all these slokas, right? So when I sit with her, if she has some doubt, what is the meaning of this, then I'll show my face, right? So just to get myself better understand.
Rajesh, you already know Sanskrit, so why do you want to still learn Sanskrit?
It's because Mama, when I learned Sanskrit in my 8th, 9th and 10th in Bombay, all we did was we just mugged up everything and wrote the exam, right? So I can recite Sanskrit well, I can break sandhis well, I can write.
Yeah.
But then I realized later on that it was so beautiful, but I didn't know how to appreciate it when I was in my 8th grade and 9th grade. Because I was just learning it for writing exams, right? So I truly want to, the first line you put there, the beauty of it, right?
Right,
Yes.
right.
In addition to, of course, understanding the meaning, which I don't know.
Yes, exactly. So even it happened to me too when I started learning Sanskrit in school. The teachers test too much of grammar, especially the sabdams.
Yeah.
And if you don't recite it, he will take a cane and give me a beating. And so I became reluctant to learn, and I wasn't too keen. But then as he grew older, then I found this such a beautiful language. So it's a very fascinating language. You can enjoy it, its beauty only by learning it. And it is a very precise, profound, poetic language. And as you go along, I'm going to explain more about this. And it is one language which has not changed over centuries. Unlike other languages, like we have English, the American English and English are different. So you have most languages which have changed according to local dialects, and they have changed. But Sanskrit is one which hasn't changed at all. And all the, as you said, all the Vedas, Upanishads, scriptures are all in Sanskrit. And it helps a great deal to understand our tradition and culture and so on. And to understand more of these, why the importance of Sanskrit, particularly in modern times, I have a scholar here, a very good friend of mine, with a profound understanding of various scriptures. He's written books on Ramayana. I'd like to welcome Dr. Sureshwara here. He's here with us. He's agreed to spare some time. I'd like to invite him here and say a few words about why Sanskrit is so relevant in modern times. Dr. Sureshwara.
Do I need this?
No, you don't know.
It's an honor to have you here.
Thank you very much, sir.
You don't have to sit.
Namaste, everybody. It's happy to be here. It's a privilege to be here. It's an honor to be here. Especially when my distinguished friend, Professor Subramaniam, is teaching a class. I have come to some of his classes. He makes the subject look so easy that even I can understand. So, I think Sanskrit is a very important subject or important language for all of us, because all the Indian scriptures for the last thousands of years have been written in Sanskrit. The Vedas that include, it's an encyclopedia of religion, spiritualism and philosophy, is in Sanskrit. And in Vedas, that 90% of Vedas covers all the rituals that we do in today's religious celebrations. So I think it's a good idea to understand exactly what we are doing. Although we do get English translation, but most English translations are also contain comments or commentary. In other words, the personal opinion is sometimes embedded in the translation. So by knowing Sanskrit, you can get to the root of the subject, understand the precise and perfect information that is contained in these ancient texts. Not only the ancients are interested in the Sanskrit, but if you look at the modern world, Will Durant, a great historian, has said, Sanskrit is the mother of all languages. That's the most important thing. NASA has said that for artificial intelligence that we are looking into the computer age, Sanskrit is the best language to communicate. Sanskrit, has been spoken based on the records for over 7,000 years. And Sanskrit has been the language of India for the educated, for the literature, for science, technology, until the advent of the British rule. So my question has been simply this: why have we ignored Sanskrit for so long in modern times? It contains a wealth of information. As Professor Subramaniam has said, it has not changed. It is such a well-developed language. And when I researched, I found, for example, there are 65 words for water. So you can see the depth of information that's contained depending on how the water is used. There are 67 words for earth. There are over 200 words for the rainfall. And the grammar of Sanskrit written by Panini is such exhaustive but yet so compact. So I am here to see that finally a scholar like Professor Subramaniam is going to teach us Sanskrit. I am very fortunate to be here, and I don't know whether I'm qualified to be your student, but I would like to be in the class and learn Sanskrit. Thank you so much for giving the privilege to be here and to be a student.
You're most welcome. Thank you. Thank you, Doctor. This is a word of inspiration, really. We are all inspired. Subisha, actually minimize this one.
Yeah.
Just shoot it off. Okay. All right. Here we go. I want to give you a very quick summary of what is the objective of our study. Let me tell you what I'm not going to do. I'm not going to make you all professors of Sanskrit. That is not the idea. I'm not going to make you orators in Sanskrit literature. But my objective is somewhat simpler. I'd like to tell you the basis of Sanskrit alphabets and pronunciation. No, the basis itself is very interesting, how it has been formed. Understand the basics of Sanskrit grammar. Sanskrit grammar is very complicated. I don't want to make it further complicated by telling you, because you'll get so confused, you'll all run away. But you should know the basics of Sanskrit grammar to be able to understand it. Learn simple words, sentence formation over a period of time. And what's more important, you should develop the curiosity to know more. So I want to kind of give you a little trigger by which you will think, well, I should explore a little further on your own. And that interest would come out of this study. And I'm also going to tell you the linkages with other language which we commonly use. Like, for example, English. If you take the word mother, for example, Sanskrit is mata. Mata, mother. Brata, brother. You see? Similar. identity, you say. Idan tataha. You see the similarity? There, in every language there is a similarity you will find between Sanskrit and the other language. And as I go on, I am going to tell you more such words when it comes. So then you will be able to appreciate that Sanskrit is linked up with other languages. And that's an important part because you are using it every day without your realizing that it is linked to Sanskrit. You say Varta in Tamil, it is Varta. Like Dr. Sureshwara said, for one thing you have got 60 words like water, apo, jalaha, tirtam, neer. All these neer you use in Telugu, right? It's Sanskrit word. So you have many such words. And as we go along, I would like you to appreciate and enjoy the beauty of Sanskrit language. And you will automatically get that. So that is going to be my objective. Not to make you Panini or Sanskrit scholars out of you, but to be able to understand, appreciate the beauty of Sanskrit language. Slokams that you recite, Ramayanam that you read, whatever. So that having been said, let's go to the next one. What is the approach going to be? The proposed approach. The first series will have 12 lessons, one each week, and it will cover the basic Sanskrit basic alphabets and unique features of the alphabet, simple words and word formation, grammar fundamentals in word and sentence formation. It will also include a vocabulary of Sanskrit words. Sanskrit is the largest vocabulary of words, largest in the world. If water can be said in 60 different ways, you can imagine how the vocabulary is. So as you go along, you will expand that. Every word, you will learn more words coming. It's like a child. You don't teach grammar to your child, but the child still picks up the language, right? When it's young. In fact, multilingual. Some of them, my grandson talks Tamil, he also talks English, and I think very soon you'll learn Hindi also, looks like. So they are able to grasp it without really getting into a formal study of grammar. And they talk. It is because every day they learn new words, vocabulary. The same will be the approach to you, that you will learn more such words. And when somebody is reciting a sloga, you will say, I heard that word, that way. So the focus is going to be really developing an appreciation of the language over the next 12 weeks. So that is the proposed approach I've got. I am going to start with a prayer which is taken from Krishna Yajurveda, which is right in the middle of Veda, Taittiriya Upanishad. And I would like you to also just repeat after I say. Om Sahana Bhavatu
Sahana Bhavatu
Sahanau Bhunaktu
Sahanau Bhunaktu
Sahaviryam Karavavahai
Sahaviryam Karavavahai
Tejasvinavaditamastu ma vidvishavahai
Tejasvinavaditamastu ma vidvishavahai.
Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
Now the Vedas are positive. They don't have anything negative. As you study more, you will find that it inspires you because it doesn't give you any demotivating sentence at all. It's all inspiring. It gives you a lot of encouragement. So this prayer we start with, itself is very positive, very inspiring. When you say Om Sahana Bhavatu, may God protect us both. Sahanau Bhunaktu, may we all be nourished together. I'm not saying only I should get food and the other person should not. May we all be, see, the attitude is mattering. Saha Virjam Karavavahai, may we work together with great energy. Virjam is energy. May we work together with great energy. Tejas Pinavadi Tamastu Mavid Pishavahai. May our study be enlightening and not give rise to hostility. Should not have animosity. And resulting Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Many of you know this word, peace, peace, peace. I will tell you later on sometime why we say it 3 times. There is a meaning for that also. Everything in here has got a reasoning behind. But you can't obviously cover it within 1 hour, but I'd like to tell you later at some stage. Okay, having started with this prayer now, I'd like to also start with the origin of Sanskrit. How did this language come? The very name Sanskritam means, subject means very well, Kritam means done, very well done, very well done. You see how beautiful the name of the language itself is, Sanskritam, very well done. There is also another word called Samskaram. What ought to be done well, which is all your karmas, the duties that you have to do. Samskaram means those which ought to be done. So sams is one word, kritam is another word. Don't worry there. It makes a noun called Sanskrit. See how beautiful it is? Now it is said, the story is that Lord Shiva, as Nataraja, he holds a small damaru, a little drum in his hand. And we dancing, out of the damaru came 14 distinct sounds. What we call Maheshwarani Sutrani. Those of you who do these rituals in Avanavatam, you say that Aye, Uno, Rado, these 14 sounds. Some of them may be sounding a little funny, but those are the original sounds from which grammar was based by Panini. So, Panini created the grammar based on these Maheshwarani Sutrani. Sutram itself means string. Mangala Sutram you say, right? It is string. So, it's a string of 14 distinct sounds which came from Lord Shiva himself, and then that became the basis for Sanskrit grammar, which was formalized by Panini. Then came the Vedic language, what is called Chandas. Chandas is metric, but Chandas is also Veda. You say Veda Mata, Veda Chandas. Chandas is another name for Sanskrit. It is the metrical form of reciting. Then it followed by classical Sanskrit, in which many of the Raghuvamsam and Kalidasa's various scriptures were written. So you have 2 different types of Sanskrit. One is the old Vedic Sanskrit, the other one is the classical Sanskrit. So that is the origin of Sanskrit. We are not trying to find out the age of it because we don't know that. Now what are the unique features of this language as distinct from other languages? The very precise phonetics. Unlike other languages, if you take English for example, you say but is but and put is put. Same letter U is pronounced differently. Correct? Likewise, you have many such words. He wound a bandage over the wound. A wound is an injury class. Wound is a past tense for wind. Both have same spellings, right? But pronunciation is different, meaning is different. But in Sanskrit is something unique that the phonetics are very precise. You don't really make a mistake like that or get into confusion. The emphasis is on sound. The whole entire universe is built up of vibrations, right from the tiniest atom to the entire universe, all the planets revolving, making sound and vibration. Even a simple fan rotates, it causes vibration and sound, right? So here, the emphasis is on sound, how you pronounce things. And it is said, this pronunciation creates beneficial vibrations to the nadis in the human body, and thereby it strengthens the nervous system. That is why Vedas become very important. To listen to that sonorous sound makes you feel better. In fact, even the plants, I believe, they respond better. And it's also the fundamental basis for music. Music is also based. Samaveda, Rigveda, these are all coming to develop music in due course of time. The word formation is very unique in Sanskrit because it comes from a seed root, what you call dhatu. From the dhatu, you can form any number of words. I'm going to give you an example later of how two roots become a word. The grammar is very rigid. It is structured so rigidly that there is very little room to maneuver it. It is highly mathematical. You cannot say 2 plus 2 is 5. It has to be only 4. So there is a particular law and that has to be observed. So this is a rigidly structured grammar and mathematical in nature. So that's the reason why we don't want to go too much deep into it. Going further, as we saw Vedas, with the origin where Sanskrit was developed, Vedas, as if you see Vedas, a body, 4 Vedas, they have limbs, what are called Vedangas. Angam means limb. And there are 6 limbs of Vedas. The first one is called Siksha. It's actually representing the nose of the body. It deals with the letters and phonetics. Siksha. The second one is called Vyakarna. Vyakarna means grammar, really. It's a face. Nose is very important because it's where you breathe. So it becomes a primary, it not only smells but also breathes. Without nose you probably get blocked. So the nose being an important limb, it's on the face, based on the face. This Vyakarna explains grammar. The third one is called Niruktam, which represents the ears and which describes the history of words and various synonyms. Like Dr. Sureshwara mentioned about 60 words for water alone. Agni has got so many words, synonyms. Likewise, earth and many other words have got synonyms. So this Niruktam deals with that. It represents the ears of the Veda. Chandas, I mentioned earlier before, explains the meter. The way in which a particular slokam or Veda is recited, because it has to do with vibrations. So the pitch goes up and down, and there are different kinds of chandas. Gayatri itself is chandas. So you have a certain rule to form these chandas. So these first 4 of these 6 are related to Sanskrit. The word formation, the metrical composition, the synonyms, the grammar, phonetics, all these are covered by the first 4 parts of these Vedas. The last 2 are related to Vedas but not really with Sanskrit as such. One is Kalpa, which is dealing with time and rituals, and lastly Jyotisha. Jyotisha doesn't mean just only forecasting or telling somebody's future. It deals a much larger astronomy, the study of space and its impact on lives. So it's a very detailed science. So these are the 6 limbs of Veda. And we will be concerned primarily with the first 4. Okay, having said that, let's go to letter. So Akshara. You heard the word Akshara? Akshara, it comes from Kshara. Kshara means perishable, one which can be destroyed. And you put A before that. A addition will make it opposite. Like Nyaya, Anyaya, Krama, Akrama. You put A before very easy that the opposite word is created by just addition of a. So in this case, Kshara with a put on that means imperishable. That itself describes the importance of the letter. Something which is imperishable, cannot be destroyed. So this Akshara itself is reflecting that importance, and there are two aspects of Akshara. One is relating to the phonetic characteristics of the language, and the second is the retention, amazing really, of individual meaning. I mentioned Dhatu earlier, right? Here you find, I'm going to give you an example. Let's say Guru. A Guru means teacher, right? But it comes out of two words, Gu and Ru, the roots. Gu referring to darkness and Ru referring to removal, the removal of darkness. So two different roots having two different meanings combined together give you one common meaning, which means teacher is one who removes darkness, who enlightens you. So this is one simple example. Likewise, there will be so many examples as we go along. Okay. Having said that, pronunciation. Now, in Sanskrit, pronunciation depends on four important factors. One is the effort that you put into it. What do you call prayatnam? Prayatnam means effort. You are already learning words now. Prayatnam. Maybe in your language you are using the word prayatnam already without knowing it is from Sanskrit. In Telugu we have prayatnam.
Yes.
Tamil also we have prayatnam.
Even aksharam.
Right. So it's not really a local language, but it is inherited from Sanskrit. Prayatnam. The second is the sthanam. In Malayalam we have sthanam. Right?
Yeah, in Malayalam, Prayatnam Sthanam.
Sthanam means here not any place, the place of origin in our body. That comes from here or from the mouth, these are all things which can vibrate and make sound. So whether it's coming from the throat or from mouth, through the nose, there are some words which are called nasal. So positioning, from which part of the body the word is coming. The force that we use, balam. Balam again a common word which you use, with which you pronounce a letter. And lastly, kalam. Kalam again is a very common word we use from Sanskrit, which is a duration of time we take. So same letter we can pronounce it See, the time difference is there. The effort required is also different. So these four factors, they contribute to the pronunciation. So remember this forever, because when you start reading later on, you will know how the difference comes in pronunciation. Let's go further. Now basics, alphabets. Basically they are divided into two parts. One is the vowels. Now what are vowels? They are called swara in Sanskrit. You know swara, to sing songs, right? You have swara. Swayam rajate iti swaraha. That which shines by itself without depending on something else. That is called swara, which is, Tamil they say உயிரெழுத்துகள். Letters which give life to anything. And that which produces same continuous sound. You say same continuous, it doesn't change. If you say ja, you can't say ja 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 ja. It is only ja. It is not continuous sound. But you say e, same sound continuously. U, same sound continuously. But it's not the case with the consonants. So you have basically these two elements. One is the vowel, which is called swara, and which produce same continuous sound, and consonants. The name for consonants in Sanskrit is called Vyanjana, Ranjana. Anu Vajayate iti Vyanjanaha. This is what is pronounced after it is joined with a swara. That means a vowel is there, it joins together and then becomes a Vyanjana. So the vowels are important part. It's like a backbone, and the consonants, they supplement. So both are required, both are arranged according to the mode and origin of production, from where the voice is coming. Okay, having said that, let's go to vowels. Simple. You say ah. From where does it come? You say ah.
No, you already have the answer up there. So. Not to look.
Well, it's very clear. I don't have to remember, explain it at all. It is from the throat. Ah, ah is long. This is short. This is ah long. E, e, the roof of the vowels. You see, you have to touch e. E is longer form. Now, those of you who do not know the Devanagari script, you can write it down and then practice it. E. And you have a combination A, I. Oo, oo. Oo is long. Oo, oo. And again a compound here. O, ow. You see how your lips go? O, ow. Ru, ru. Your teeth come closer. Ru. Lu. Your lips come closer. Lu. So these are basically the 13 vowels that you have here. Very simple. And we go on to consonants. But there are two more sounds which are neither vowels but not quite consonants either, which is part of the Sanskrit alphabet. One is called Anuswara, which is after sound called and Visarga, which is aha, aha. These all have meaning. Anuswara means after the swara, and Visarga is sending forth. So these sounds, two sounds in a nom can appear only after vowels. For example, I said Sankaraha. You see karaha. Karaha. Sam means sa Sankaraha. Pronoun Sankara in one word. So there is a vowel I can't call it either vowel or consonant because it is combined together. Sankaraha. So these are two more sounds added to the alphabet. Let's go to the combinations now. The consonants. So which is very important in Sanskrit, but not in quite a few other languages. English doesn't have that. Now, for example, you say kha, you have to put k and a. If you say kha, there is a bit difference. At the most, you can say kha, but not really so. There is a finer, very, very, very fine difference. Kha, ka, ga. You see the difference slightly? Kha, ka, ga. It is coming from throat. The tongue does not touch the mouth. You see that? Ka, ka, ga, ga. Do you find the tongue touching the mouth when you say that? Try it out.
No.
You find the tongue touching the mouth? So that's called guttural. Ka, ka, ga, ga. You see the phonetics, how they're coming up. The second line is cha, cha, ja, ja. Cha, cha, ja, ja. You see the fine difference between, you find the tongue really going to the top, the mouth, the roof of the mouth. Try it out again. Cha, cha, ja, ja. You find the tongue going to the roof, right? To the mouth. So that is called palatal, because this is a palate on top. The roof is called palate. So it's palatal. The third one is the tongue tip touching the mouth roof. Ta ta da da. Ta ta da da. You see the tip of the tongue going and touching almost the roof here, which is cerebral. Okay? You see the difference? The next one, you will find the tongue actually, the tip touching the top of the teeth. That's why it's called dental. You know what is the root word in Sanskrit for that? Danta. You see the similarity I was telling you? Danta. Danta is dental. The elephant has dantam. So here, because the tongue is really touching the top teeth, it's called dental. Ta ta da da. Ta ta da da. You see the tip of the tongue touching the top of the teeth. You find it? Right? Yeah. And the fifth line, it's actually from the lips. There is no action for the tongue at all in this. It's a wind passing through your lips really, which makes a sound. Pa pa ba ba.
Pa pa ba ba.
Pa pa ba ba.
Pa pa ba.
You see, it is the tongue is really very little role, nothing at all. Practically, you actually use the wind to pass through, like a flute. You know how they play flute? It's only the air controlled through various holes in the bamboo, like Lord Krishna has. He plays beautiful music with only the flute, Venu. In addition to the consonants, you have the fifth letters coming in, which are called nasal. I mentioned it before, coming to the nose. Say nga, nga,
Nga.
nya,
Nya.
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 There is a little difference. Nga and nya.
Nya.
Deepan, can you say that? Nga and nya.
Nya, nya,
Nga,
nya,
nya.
nya.
Okay, you got it. So there is something different, but as you go along, you will find there is composition of words using these letters. At an appropriate stage, you have to use that particular origin of your body to pronounce it. So now I've given you a summary of this. A, I, U, R, I, O, Au, Aha. Ka, ga, ga, nga. Cha, cha, ja, ja. Nya. Ta, ta, da, da, na. Ta 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 na.
Tha 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 na.
Now there is a difference between the earlier na and this na. That is a little hard. It is na, where you twist your tongue to say na. And this one you say from the tip of the tongue na. You see the difference? The earlier one you see na, and this one you say na. Like say no, right? Na. Pa pa ba ba ma. Ya
Ya.
ra
Ra.
la
La.
wa
Va.
sha
Sha.
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 There is a difference between this sha and sha. Okay?
Sha. Sha.
Sha sha
Sha.
sha sha.
Sha.
Sha you have to bend.
Sha. Sha.
Sa sha sa sa
Sa.
Sa.
Sha.
sa.
Sha.
Tip.
Sha.
Ha.
Sa.
Ha. Ha comes from the throat. Ha. Okay. Oh, this you have to practice. Maybe we'll do it later time. Now, Vedic pronunciation is somewhat different. Now, the earlier one, what I mentioned, you use it for mostly the classical Sanskrit. Like you read a slokam, or you read Kalidasa's Kumar Sambhavam, or any one of those. You don't have to really vary the pitch. You pronounce it as we saw it earlier. But Vedic pronunciation is different because there are different ways of produce the right sound vibrations. There are 4 different types. One called Udatta, which Rajesh knows because he learned Kirudam, which is actually a bass tone. It has no special marking. When you read the books, you will not find any marking, only the letter will be there. The other one is called Swarita, which is a high tone, slightly high, elevated, high pitch, which is denoted by a kind of simple notation, like an apostrophe on top. So when you see the books, you will notice it. That is called Swarita. So when you are reading something, you have to slightly increase the pitch, high pitch. There is another one called Dirgha Swarita, which is still higher pitch, which is denoted by a real apostrophe, like semicolon. You have 2 of them, right? Dirgha Swarita. Then there is a lower pitch called Anudatta, which is low pitch denoted by an underscore. You find a little line. So when you read any of these Vedic scriptures like Sri Rudram, Chamakam or Suktams, you will find these kind of markings coming on the book, in the sentences. So you have to learn to pronounce it the way those markings are made. Udatta, Swarita, Dirgha Swarita or Anudatta. So, but when you start doing it, you will gradually learn that. You will learn that, and that's the way it should be done. Because only then it has the desired effect. So I am going to give you a little example of Vedic pronunciation, how it goes. I think Rajesh can join me on this because he knows already. Umresh can also join. He can also join. Om Gananam Tva Ganapatikam Havamahe Kavim Kavinam Upamashravasthavam Jeshtarajam Brahmanam Brahmanaspatahana Shrinvannuti Sida Sadhanam Mahaganapataye Namaha. This is just 4 lines, When it is said in chorus, at the same pitch, you see it produces very beautiful effect, a sonorous sound. Something happening in your heart, right? When you hear this, you feel very pleasant about it, and Veda is full of that. As you go and read, you will find you get into raptures really. And it gives you the beneficial effect on your nadis. I mentioned that before. So that is how the Vedic pronunciation goes. And you find there are so many, this is only a very, very small sample which is usually used when you start reciting any particular Veda or any. So in fact even rituals they use the same thing. But the pitch variation is what is to be noted. And That is for Vedic pronunciation. We will not be using this much in later lessons, but I thought I should mention to you because some of you may like to learn more of it, so it forms a basis. But in the next lessons and all that, we will start with the basics of grammar and word formation word. Those don't have these various pitches. They will be simple words, but you have to pronounce it the way we did it for vowels and consonants. Same way. So the origin I mentioned should has to come from throat or lip or whatever. So I think this is the fundamental of Sanskrit. If you were interested, we will talk about it more in our next class. And as we go along, say after 4 classes, you see the progress in yourself, how much you are able to get around to learning it, and I'm sure your curiosity is going to be roused. That gives a sign that you have learned something. So with that, we stop for today, and we will continue our lessons next Sunday. Thank you all so much. Namaste.
Namaste.